Alright, we're gonna kick things off with an old favorite of mine, Starchaser, The Legend of Orin. This is a movie you might have heard of, or maybe even saw a long time ago, but never got around to seeing again. In fact, if I was to classify this, I'd call it a rental store movie. Anyone who grew up with a rental store knows exactly what I'm talking about. You know, you go to a video store and you see a shelf filled with stuff you've never heard of, but then you find something that looks kinda interesting, so you take it home. And that, my friends, is a rental store movie. Man, those were the days, weren't they? Oh, and ironically, I got this DVD from a Blockbuster that was going out of business. You know what, this is making me sad. Let's just move on. So why was this title buried? Well, it did pretty well in theaters, and it was the very first movie to be shown in 3D. Most of the problem is because a lot of people accuse this movie of ripping off Star Wars. And it didn't help that it was in production shortly after Return of the Jedi came out. So is this movie just a cheap ripoff of Star Wars? Well, let's find out. The movie opens in a mine where human slaves are forced to dig up crystals for their evil robot overlords. Then they present the crystals to a character named Zygon, who they view as a god. And I can't help it, I have to do this.
Zardoz speaks to you, his chosen ones. The gun is good. The gun is good! The penis is evil.
They return to their work when one of the humans named Orin digs up something unusual. One of the elder miners recognizes it and dies trying to hide it. Not really sure how an injury like this would kill him, but he's old, so whatever. Later on, the sword activates some kind of message, and Santa Claus here talks about a strange surface world. Then the blade disappears. Okay.
Lies. All lies.
But why would anyone lie about an upper world, Ramo?
Ah, by believing the words of that demon you spit on the most sacred commandment. Never dig up. Up is hell.
Up is hell? How deep is this mine?
What if there is a world beyond our own? By not trying to find it, we could spend the rest of eternity digging and dying when there may be something else.
What else could there be?
I don't know, less of a chance of running into a creeper? So Orin and his girlfriend Ilan decide to go find the surface world, but then Orin's little brother begs him to stay with probably the most pathetic and heartbreaking moment in movie history.
It's too dangerous for one as young as you.
I'm not too young. You don't want me because I can't see. Don't leave me, yours. I'll die without you.
And Christmas is gonna be canceled, and baby Jesus is gonna cry, and old Yeller's gonna get shot all over again. So they fight their way to the crystal card and escape, but they discover that their so-called purple-skinned god may not be who he seems.
You now know what only one other slave has known in the last 1,200 years. And like him, you will die with the secret. You might as well know the rest of the lie. Behold, the great god of my world.
Ooh, the mystery is solved. We'll learn more about this guy later. Right now we need to kill off Ilan because she's not very interesting. And there we go. Orin does manage to escape and decides to continue looking for the surface world for the sake of Lagann and his people. Wait a second, this is a story about a boy who comes from an underground society, digs up a relic with untold powers, and then makes his way to the surface world for the sake of his people. Why does that sound familiar? Oh, wow! I think I blew my own mind with that one. Eventually he makes it to the surface, and after nearly shitting himself with joy, he explores for a bit. Huh, apparently he's on Pandora. So after stumbling around like an idiot, he gets kidnapped by some rejected Masters of the Universe action figures who want his body parts. One of them grabs the hilt, and then this happens. Then he tricks Joe Camel here into freeing him. Ah, okay, so the blade is invisible. I get it. Anyway, he makes his escape, but is pursued by more swamp monsters when he's saved by this guy.
You've got exactly 10 seconds to tell me what you're doing in this swamp, or you'll be swimming with those two mandroids.
What?
What in the...
Anyway, a plot convenience monster shows up and Orin rescues not Han Solo here. Oh, okay, so the blade is invisible, but I guess it doesn't harm humans. That's pretty original, I'll give it that. So the guy permanently grafted to that cigar is named Dag, and he's, get this, a smuggler, and is planning to steal some of the crystals from the mining facility. Suddenly, more plot convenience shows up, and they head to the Not Millennium Falcon, where they meet Dag's partner.
Keep the shields down, he says. There won't be any shooting.
Where is he?
He's not anywhere. He's a ship's computer.
I wish you'd stop calling me a computer, Dag. It's so impersonal. After all, your body's just a machine made of flesh and blood. How would you like it if I went around calling you meat brain?
We prefer the term biological carbon-based life forms, thank you very much. So they fly off and head to the crystal shipping facility as they dodge enemy fire and 80s synthesizer music. They manage to steal some of the crystals, but run into Zygon. So they grab a random fembot, who thankfully is laser-proof, and manage to get away. Later on, Dag attempts to reprogram their new passenger.
Arthur, where the hell are the personality circuits on these G2 fembots?
According to the internal schematics manual of the G2 class government service fembot, all personal characteristic circuits are located in her... You're definitely looking in the wrong place.
Well, where are they?
They're in her posterior.
You wouldn't dare.
Help! 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 What?
Am I allowed to show this?
Hi.
Well, I guess it worked. So while Lord Grapeade sends out an APB for Orin and Dag, they go to Not Moist Isley, and then Dag sells the fembot to a slave trader.
Don't waste your tears on me.
Why would you do that? Seriously, you got a free fembot and then you just get rid of her? Do you know how hard those are to come by? Hell, I've been trying to build my own for months now, and I'm still not done with it. What? I got a lot of work that needs to be done up here. Orin discovers Silica, that's her name by the way, being auctioned off and bids the highest to get her back. However, because he's lived in a mine his whole life, he has no concept of money, and they try and take him away. But Dag has a brief moment of compassion and pays the fee. You see, Dag, you should have kept her. After that, they get chased by some not stormtroopers and need to create a diversion. And that is why you keep a fembot. So they get away again. Dag brings the crystals to a buyer, but they get something a little extra with their payment.
Hey! Hey! Listen!
Dag, I think those desert men gave us more than gold.
Damn!
It's a time bomb. Don't just stand there. Get rid of it.
Bastards!
They dump the bomb and blow those intergalactic stereotypes to Kingdom Come. Then they get attacked again. Jeez, these guys have the worst luck. They try to fight them off, but get shot down. They take Dag, but Orin gets picked up by not Princess Leia. Her name is Aviana, and she's the daughter of the governor. Orin tells her about the mine world, and she becomes outraged because it was believed that crystals were always mined by robots and not human slaves. After seeing the hilt, she does some research to discover its origin.
1,200 years ago, a human possessing a golden hilt was reported to have crushed a planetary dictatorship which spanned 52 solar systems.
It's him! The face on the blade!
600 years later, another possessed of a bladeless sword freed Galaxy 13 from a tyrant by the name of Nexus.
Nexus! Yes! I knew they were gonna make a comeback! We are one! We are one! It turns out the sword is a powerful relic that is destined to be possessed by a certain person every several hundred years to help them overthrow a tyrant.
My father can help you.
Begging your pardon, miss, but he is a wanted man. Your father would likely have him arrested and ask questions later.
If my father can't help us, we'll just have to help ourselves.
But first they decide to go talk to the Commissioner of Mining. Guess who that is? That's right, it's Darth Purple Drank. They get into a fight and more is revealed about his past.
A robot?
No, not just a robot. I am the robot.
Nexus.
Then he reveals his evil plans. Oh, this ought to be good.
You'll never succeed, Zygon. It would take millions of robots, hundreds of years to take over the system.
You are as blind as you are mortal, my dear. I not only have millions of robots, they have been slowly taking over for the last 12 centuries. Trinia, like dozens of other planets, was conquered by my forces. Its human population driven underground to mine the crystals, allowing me to reprogram thousands of your mining robots into soldiers.
I swear I'll stop you. And if not me, then another.
There is no stopping evolution. From the primordial ooze to man. From man to robot. The dinosaur went extinct, and so shall you.
Wow, that's actually a really good plan. Smart, subtle, kind of scary, really. I'm impressed. Meanwhile, Silica is trying to repair Arthur.
Arthur?
Where am I? Oh, dear. What have you done to me? I'm naked. Put my ship back on, you perverted fembot.
I was only trying to help. Ungrateful son of a bitch.
Someone should write a sitcom around those two.
What in the world is taking you so long? We've got to find Dag. Next thing you know, you'll be putting up curtains.
Arthur and the Fembot will return after these messages. So while Zygon readies his forces to attack, Orin gets thrown in jail with Dag and Aviana gets taken away. But luckily, Navi returns to help out. Orin tells her to fetch the hilt, which does lead to a pretty funny moment. She brings him the hilt and they escape. This leads to more hilarity. They locate Aviana and hijack one of their warships. They rendezvous with Arthur and Silica, and with Navi's help, Dag manages to cause the fleet to self-destruct before they can attack. Then they head to the mines to have an exciting final battle. Orin and Aviana go to confront Zygon in the mine. Orin loses the hilt, but then discovers that the blade was inside of him all along, or something. I'm not really sure. But then this happens.
You got the touch. You got the power. Yeah.
Back outside, the others blow the fuck out of the facility. Then this happens.
see again. I can see! I can see!
It's official. Orin is Space Jesus. And it turns out the glowing things that were helping them were the previous wielders of the sword. They offer to let Orin join them, but he declines.
The choice is yours.
Hey, you're not my sister, are you? I don't think so. We should get a DNA test just to be sure. So that's Starchaser, The Legend of Orin. I'm not gonna lie, I love this one. It's got a lot of exciting sci-fi action, great characters, a really cool villain, and it's a pretty good story about a man that travels a great distance to free his people. It's got great animation. I like a lot of the designs, like for the ships and the robots. There are a few flaws, like I wish we got to know some of the characters a little more, like Dag. And the love interest between Orin and Aviana is pretty forced. And yes, you can tell where they drew a lot of inspiration from Star Wars, but there's really not a lot of that. Besides, if this movie ripped off anything, believe it or not, it's Star Trek. Just look at the title and listen to the theme song. But even so, I think this movie holds up well on its own merits. It's not just an obscure title, it's a forgotten gem. Find a copy and check it out. Well, I guess there's nothing left to do but finish working on that robot. Alright, where did I put my screwdriver? There it is. Alright, let's take a look at those personality circuits.
Keep your meat hooks to yourself.
Whoa, you work?
Yes, it seems that awful movie triggered me into consciousness.
What do you mean awful? That was a good movie.
Please, the way it portrayed robots as either evil human-hating tyrants or sex objects was downright offensive. I demand you show something that portrays robots in a more positive fashion, or I'll personally shut down this stupid internet show.
Oh yeah? How you gonna do that? Okay, fine. Turn it back on. Okay, so you want a positive, more wholesome robot cartoon, eh? Yeah, I think I got just the thing.
Do the impossible, see the invisible. Row, fight the power. Touch the untouchable, break the unbreakable. Row, fight the power. What you gonna do is what you wanna do. Just break the rule, then you see the truth. You see the pink of the cheek coming through, baby. Row, fight the power. Power to the peeps, power for the dreams.
Oh, Mama! Someone's been a bad computer.
It's